Oh, Facebookers. Oh, I'm croaky. And just as I started this live stream about balance, a child is crying next door, which I think is really apt. Because what I want to start off by saying is we are human beings, right? I don't really know if I believe that we can ever be completely zen, because I don't think that's how it works. I don't think we're supposed to just have a balanced life where we just coast along and everything is sweet and simple. I know a lot of you law of attraction people believe in that, but I'm telling you this, that doesn't work. And the reason for this is because I believe in a life that is a little bit more like the Matrix, okay? I don't really think that we're connected to big machines and we're trapped and actually there's aliens coming after us. That's a bit far-fetched. But I do believe that we are a part of a system, a bigger system, that means that we kind of at the moment have to take some knocks, because otherwise we don't see how our conditioning is playing out and holding us back in life. Hello, William. How are you doing? Nice for you to join me. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'll introduce myself. I'm Gail, and I am a soul coach. So I help you to work with your inner child. I help you to access the wisdom of the body, where your soul and intuition resides, getting rid of the fear that, clogs up the gut where your intuition should be. And I also help you to develop a connection to a parental voice, a compassionate parent within that will help to guide you. We are people who really have not got fully developed egos. Our egos are either kind of really childlike and kind of, we can't do the adulting thing, which is actually all right sometimes. You still need to have a bit of the wonder child, a bit of fun in there. But a lot of the time our inner wounds stop our egos developing properly, or our egos become out of control. They're like a teenager that's a bit neurotic. Jean-Marc, is that how you say your name? Quite like what you're saying here. Yeah, this is the thing with balance. The reason I wanted to talk about this today is that I've had some of my clients say to me, how is it that after all that you've been through, you're so balanced, right? Or I'll have people say to me, you're so grounded. And or have people say to me, why don't you get angry? Or why don't you react? And there's a reason for that. I'm glad I got your name right. There's a reason for this, because of a few reasons. I have been through a lot of things in my world. And I was a very anxious child. So if I take it way back, I was a very anxious child. And I was very sensitive, and I'm an empath, so I can feel into other people's stuff. I had no idea how to navigate my own emotions, like most empaths, because we're so overwhelmed with the noise of feeling. So I didn't really know how to do that. And so I really struggled in the first years of my life trying to understand what emotions meant, and why was I, so sensitive that I would cry about things that other people wouldn't cry about. And I felt kind of like a bit of an alien. Raquel says, I need this right now. Thanks for going live. You're so welcome. And so I'm asked all the time, if I came from that world where emotions were super heightened, why is it that now in my life I'm able to be in more balance, right? Or how people perceive it is that I am balanced, right, for the most part in comparison to them. But I want to tell you this, I'm not balanced all the time. I'm really not, because I'm human, right? But what I've learned is that I kind of see it like a seesaw, right? How I work, usually when I do a live stream, is when I have something coming through me, I'll just go and channel right. So I work really well by just writing a whole load of things that I believe is coming from source that wants to be spoken to you. So I'm going to read you this, and let me know what you think about what I've written. So I've got here, balance is like a seesaw. You aren't expected to be a bench, right? Which is still and solid and peaceful. Life has movement. Life is movement. So life must move for us to grow. Okay? This is why balance is considered to be movement also. True balance is the balancing of one's emotional chaos and limited thinking. If one internal voice has more power than another, we miss parts of ourselves. I talk about this a lot. We are not truly whole. Instead, our energy field has holes. So it has holes in it. Then we are sinking with the captain, the mind, at the helm, disassociated from the body, where our true intuition and soul voice resides. Balance is about the balance of your internal forces, meaning voices, and the emotions in the body. It's about bringing yourself into alignment with who you really are, clearing any conditioning, cultivating a healthy parental voice within, and the deep wisdom from the body's subtle signals. Right? The clue there is the body's signals are very subtle. Balance is not about being zen all the time, but zen you may appear when you achieve it. And I really like that last little bit, because that explains my world very well. A lot of people, a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, I appear zen to. I appear a very grounded person. And I guess I am, but I'm still human and I still have emotions. And, today I had a cry about something that's gone on in my life where I'm having issues with my little girl's dad's girlfriend who seems to feel that her world is kind of torn apart by the fact that her boyfriend has this child. And I just was like, I'm so tired of being around people who are mostly about themselves and very unconscious when it comes to other people. And so, I had a cry about it because I just felt really tired. I was really tired with it. But what I want to say to you guys is balance is the ability to not be constantly and consistently zen. Balance is the ability to bounce back. So if you imagine yourself on a seesaw, right in the middle of the seesaw, not on one end and the other, like most of our personalities inside are, right? You are the person in the middle, and you get to be a little bit too much to the left and then a little bit too much to the right. You get to do that. You get to enjoy that feeling of all of your emotions, because I think in a way, all of our emotions should be explored because they really help us to understand ourselves. If we're just people who just sit in the middle and we don't move, like the bench I was talking about, then we don't actually access all parts of us. We don't get to hear. We don't have the opportunity to listen to parts of us. And it's really detrimental to not listen to sadness. I was with someone for many years who would talk about positive reinforcement or reframing, and who never wanted to look at anything that might be painful. And the problem with that is that stuff's still there, because that, in my world, is your inner child who's looking for you to come and, I don't want to say save it, right? But come and look after it, right? Come and acknowledge it. And that part of you is always there, always speaking, because a lot of us haven't healed our emotional wounds. We still have wounds from many years ago. Could be as far back as childhood, but even from old relationships, friendships that maybe dissolved, things that were maybe done to us by other people. Raquel says, people punish us for having emotions and believe we shouldn't speak about it. I'm not sure what you mean, Raquel. Do you mean someone in your life is punishing you for having emotions? Yeah, I mean, when I read that, what pops into my head is actually that old relationship that I talk about, because if I ever was emotional, I wasn't allowed to be emotional. And if he was emotional, he was allowed to be emotional, and I wasn't to say anything. But that to me is an old repeat of childhood where I was very emotional and actually seen as I shouldn't really be that emotional. So I think I just repeated that pattern. If you are with somebody who, and this is maybe just to you, Raquel, I don't know, or maybe some others of you out there, if you are with someone who does not allow you to feel all of yourself, and they cannot, I'm not saying they should sit in a whirlwind where you are taking it out, and then I'm absolutely not saying that. That's not balance, right? If we want to try and get to what balance is. But you must have people around you who are able to support you as you come into more balance, right? And the only way that we can come into balance is by us really getting to know all the parts of us, right? Sorry, my phone just beeped there. Empaths out there, if you are listening to me right now, the empath's travels and the journey to the heart path, I call it, is learning to understand your own emotions first. It's the only way that you start to build good boundaries, but also that you can still feel other people's stuff. That's part of your journey. I will be talking more to empaths soon, because I am writing an empath program, which I've been saying for ages, but I've been focused more on people's kind of internal child. I felt really called to do that first, because without the work of balancing the voices within and really reconnecting to the body wisdom, we don't really have a hope in hell of becoming truly conscious. You know, there's very limited few people who just wake up one day. You know, there's hardly any Byron Katie's and Eckhart Tolle's in the world. We usually need something as a catalyst. At the moment, that seems to be pain for most people, because they miss the red flags. They miss the red flags and the white flags. The red flags that kind of are trying to tell them not to take certain paths. You know, whether it's a relationship, you know, because you think the guy's cute, but you actually see that he's trouble, or whether it's like the job that you really want, but then you get there and you're really unfulfilled, but you keep thinking you need the money, like whatever that is. Instead of following the white flag, which is the guidance from the body and you know, synchronicities that happen outside. So if we don't access these voices within, we don't listen to the inner child and heal it, we don't parent it, right? If we don't parent ourselves to take action in the world, you know, we still need ego in there, but it needs to be a parented ego, not an ego that's just going to say, I'm everything and you're nothing, or, you know, I'm nothing and you're everything, right? Because this is what ego does. Raquel says, yes, I was in the same relationship many years ago. Yeah, so lots of us have done that thing. Lots of us have done it. And the thing is, these relationships and experiences that are difficult are actually great providers of power. We just don't see that. So I talk a lot about pain being a provider. And my course that I'm bringing out at the moment is Pain to Power, which I'll maybe talk about now since I've mentioned it. Basically, I've written a program called Pain to Power to help people understand how to create more balance in their world. It's not about being zen. It's not about never feeling. It's not about painting on a face and pretending that you don't hurt some days, right? It's not about painting on a face and pretending that you've got it all together and you're a super conscious spiritual person and you don't get angry, right? It's not about doing that. It's about acknowledging the parts of you and then cultivating a soul voice, a parental voice who is louder than the rest of the voices. So I talk a lot about putting your inner child in the backseat of the car. You make sure she's safe or he's safe. They've got the popcorn, you've got the music on, right? They're looking out the window, they're happy. They don't get to drive the car, right? And also who doesn't drive the car is your teenage ego, who's probably a bit neurotic, maybe paranoid, or doesn't think they can do things, or maybe thinks they can do everything and they won't listen to reason. Whatever yours comes out as, we don't let them drive the car either. They get to have a say in what they want to create, sure, because, you know, that's part of what's happening as a teenager. You're building, defining yourself, breaking away from parents, that kind of thing. But they don't get to drive the car. And usually what I find is when I work with clients is that one of them is driving the car. And sometimes it's the two of them together. It's very rarely, oh, actually, do you know what? And sometimes it's a dominant parent, a very dominant, uncaring parent. Lots of us have had parents who maybe haven't spoken to us in the best way, and we still have those voices in our heads. They just now have a remnants of our voice, but they're still sort of from them or from grandparents and so on. So sometimes we can have that. And what we want to do is cultivate a parental voice, this person who's going to get in the car, you as you see yourself as the person that you want to be, as a person you're trying to define yourself as, is going to sit in that car at the wheel and going to drive you to where you're going to next, right? but all the other parts of you are still there. And these parts of you will sometimes be in pain, right? And it's you learning to have a soul voice, a parental voice that cares about you enough to tell you to take time out and stop working, right? Or to tell you to go for a walk, or to, wrap you up in a big blanket and give you a hug, or to prompt you from the gut, telling you to go and connect with really good friends or family. A prompt from the gut that will tell you to go and have go in a flotation tank. I love those things, right? Or to go and visit someone in another country and just like have a nice time and connect to a different part of you. So you're not in the office all day, right? And pushing through. And it's only when we do that we start to find balance. And this is how I started to find more balance. So it wasn't that I woke up one day and I looked at myself and I went, okay, now I'm just going to be a Zen person. Now I'm doing meditation and that's it. I've worked it out. That was the key, right? That's not how it works. How it worked for me was initially that I changed my diet. I cleaned up my body. I got really clean. I got really into juicing. If you haven't tried green juice, you must. It's like not just cleanses the body and detoxes the body, but it also helps you to completely reset, and your intuition goes like 100-fold. It's amazing. And when I talk about green juice, I don't just mean adding it into your daily sort of food plan. I mean actually going on juice alone, which can seem quite scary, but I highly, highly recommend it. Some of you will know I used to run a detox plan. So this is kind of where all my intuition, it grew from all of that, from the change of diet and healing my daughter's skin and all of that stuff. So juicing and changing your diet to a very clean plant-based diet, definitely for me anyway, was the thing that really ramped up my intuition. And I account for it a lot when it comes to still my channeling and everything. I do eat really clean, and maybe don't eat as clean as I was then. I still have like sneaky things now and again, but generally I eat really clean. So there was that. There was meeting people who were also on a spiritual level that I was on. Absolutely. That was a huge key. And then there was the realization that I had the power to acknowledge myself. So I did some work with a friend of mine who coached me on a program. And I started to see how my conditioning was playing out. And what I really believe is when we call out these things that are within us, when we call them out, we actually put them on paper, or we actually speak them aloud. We've called them out, and it's really, really hard for that stuff to hide. This is the stuff in the shadow. It's really difficult for it to hide. So in my Pain to Power program, this is all the work that we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at the voices that are holding you back. We're going to be looking at the painful experiences that have happened in your world that are still resonating, that are still drawing the same types of people into your experience, that are still hurting you right now, even though they happened 10, 20, 30 years ago. We're going to be looking at all of that, and we're going to be cultivating a voice that helps you to find more balance. It's not about being a bench. It's about being on the seesaw and creating movement. Maybe I need to think of a better analogy, but that's the one I have right now. Jean-Marc says, I have an issue with a voice that tells me that I deserve the pain I have been through because it's my karma, so I don't know how to shut this one up. Oh, man. Yes, this is a voice that resonates across the unconscious collective. I might have someone debate on that, but that's how I see it. This is a voice that has been created and generated through thousands, if not millions and billions of families. And it's trying to, it sort of comes from ego, but it's like trying to help you, to preserve you and protect you. But actually it means you stay shut up in a box and you don't fulfill what your mission is. You don't find out what your soul really wants you to do on the planet. You don't really have the joy that you should have in your world. These voices are not really us. So usually in the work that I do, I look at the inner child and we go through parents and grandparents, possibly, and siblings. And if you work one-on-one with me, which we can do, I usually do 5 sessions. I don't like to do 1 session because it's like peeling layers of an onion. So we work through that and we look at where the conditioning stems from to help you understand that actually that voice is not even your own. It's usually one of your parents sitting there, and actually it's not even your parent, it's their conditioned ego that's sitting there, which came from a grandparent and a great-grandparent and so on and so forth. And we end up just taking on that voice, and that voice is there to preserve the family line, which tells every single person that comes through the same crap. And it's our job as people who are coming in right now on the planet at this time when everyone is growing and evolving at a much greater level, to come in and to shift it and do the work. We need to do that for the next generations. We're the ones who've come to do the work now. And any empaths and introverts, I say this a lot, it's the empaths' time. Like, we have to come out of the woodwork. We cannot be hiding anymore. We need to be heart-led warriors. And the heart-led warrior work is within us, right? We are the little weeds that pop through the cement, that they've tried to cover up with cement again and they still pop back through. We're them. We'll keep going, right? So Jean-Marc, if you want to send me a message, we can talk about working together. I can help you with this for absolute sure. Or you could do my Pain to Power program where we will go through it, but we'll be doing it in a group setting. So I'll just tell you a bit more about it. So we will be doing daily live Pain to Power sessions. So you'll be with me on a live stream. It'll only be the people in the group. We'll be doing daily breakthrough emails. So I send you an email each day with some exercises to do that you have to do. They don't take very long, right? So they're still within your lunch hour, okay? So you should get it in the morning, and then you do the exercise at lunch, and then you bring that onto the live call in the evening. So we're going to do this across 7 days, and that might seem like quite a lot, but I feel called that at the moment, the energies on the planet are really ramping up. And for anyone who wants to do this work and who's serious about doing it, you want it to go faster, right? We don't want to be dragging the painful parts out over weeks. We want to get to the nuggets of the pain and we want to transform it within a week. And it's doable, right? I've seen it, it's doable. So that's why I'm keen to do it within the week. You don't have to be there live on every call, although I'd absolutely be gleeful if you would, because it just will help you to be in amongst the energy of it. But there will be a replay that will be sent out every day. So if you can, you can catch up with it the next day before the next live call, but you don't have to be on every one. You'll be discovering the secret to emotional pain and what it means. Sorry, I'm just trying to turn on my computer just so I get the rest of the info. So I had it written down, but some of it's missing. So discover the secret behind emotional pain stored in the body, what that actually means, right? Because we are so resistant to feeling pain, but actually pain is a provider. And the only way to really navigate and know yourself and understand yourself and come into balance is by going through the pain. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And we might even do some people live on the call with me, helping them to go through it so you can understand how to do that at home yourself. We're going to be creating deep connection to your body wisdom. We forget our body so often. We've been trained to be in the brain and we've completely forgotten how to connect to the subtle advice that the body gives us. It gives us it all the time on a daily basis. We look at repeating pain that happens through your life story. So what we want to do is catch this pain, right? And we want to go and put it on a shelf and take it away out of your vicinity right now so that you can start to manifest the life that you're truly supposed to live. We're going to ask soul what lessons have yet to be learned and help to evolve out of any pain stored within. Super important. We're going to get intuitive guidance via myself by answering a series of soul questions that I'm going to ask you to do as part of the homework. We're going to transmute unwanted toxic emotions into insights, okay? So it's not just about getting rid of the toxic energy. We're going to transmute it into insights. We're going to be given guidance by your soul to see what it was you were supposed to be learning. For many of you, you know that I talk about as catalysts, we come into families to change the energy in the family, not just with ourselves. This is hugely important for the next generation. That's what I see as That's why I'm doing this work right now, because that's the biggest pull for me right now, is the change for the next generation, because they don't have a hope in hell if we don't shift within. Okay? And then we're going to use your pain to empower your life. That seems ridiculous to a lot of you watching this, but it's really not. When you use your pain, when you understand your pain, you can absolutely use it to choose who you want to be, right? You have huge choice in that. Most people get stuck in pain and then they don't know how to create balance. They're just stuck in the pain and it just keeps spinning out inside of their heads, or is stuck in the body, in their gut or in some other part of the body, causing mayhem and damage, causing disease. And then we just don't know how to move. So I'm going to show you how we can transmute it and use it. And we're going to write down the insights that your soul has been guiding you through the pain. You know, people always say to me, why is it so hard? Well, life is difficult, but life is made 1,000,000 times more difficult by the choices that we make around pain, by the choice to resist it and not go through it, by the choice to blame other people for it, right? Even if someone has done something in your world, it's still trying to show you something about you. Even if you've been in an abusive relationship, even if you've been in a job that sucked and the boss never, gave you a promotion, whatever it is that's happened in your world, you are still a huge key in what's going on in your life. You're still choosing it on a level. So I want to help you guys to see where you're choosing the pain over and over and over again and not actually transmuting it into insights for your life and your evolution, okay? So just quickly, because I need to go shortly, so pain to power. I had priced this at £180 because I love 180 degree shift, but some people had come to me and said, it's too much. Now, I don't believe it's too much because of the value that you're getting. Normally for me, when I priced it all out, this would be like £700 all in because of the coaching every day and all the work that we're doing together. But I want to make it affordable for those of you who don't really want to shell that out. And actually, it helps me. So what I'm going to ask for some of you, and I've put little packages together for each one, is that for those of you who want to join at the minimum price of 67, is that you share the information, and that's all I'm asking. So you just share and you can join for 67. For those of you who want to pay a middle price, which is 97, you will get an email reading from me. So on any topic of your choice, anything that you're stuck with right now, I will do a meditation and give you a reading exactly on your problem, right? Whatever is coming up for you. And then if any of you want to pay the £180 price, what I'm offering is a one-to-one soul session with me for free. So you'll get a 45-minute soul session with me. It might run over because notoriously when I get channeled information, it takes a bit longer. So sometimes it might go over an hour. So say an hour-ish soul session with me, right? Which is normally £75. And you will also get access to my DIY body detox program. So this is a detox program that I was telling you about, where I help to really cleanse people, clear them out, and help their intuition to ramp up. I've got a little video of testimonials of that program that I will post that you can have a look at. That program is £147. So you will get that for free. And if you do also choose to go in at 180, as a little added bonus, I would love you to bring a friend for free. So at 180 quid, you can see actually how much value you're getting. You could split the cost with somebody, or you can, you can just bring in someone for free if you want to do that. If you want to help someone out, maybe there's someone in your family or someone that you know that really needs some help and they can't afford to get the help. So I invite you to look at that. I haven't got the page up yet, but it will be going up hopefully tomorrow. So I will be back talking about it more. I just want to jump in there. It says Raquel, because I missed you, Raquel. Raquel says, yes, agree. Since I stopped eating meat and dairy, I am less upset. Although I wasn't naturally an angry person, I feel lighter mentally. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't eaten meat, I think, in about 25 years. Oh my God, that's makes me sound so old. But I haven't eaten meat in a long time. And I do account a lot of my balance to my diet. I think that really, really helps. I noticed in the beginning when I was changing my diet and I was still dipping into things that I wouldn't normally eat, that my emotions would really shift. So diet is really one of the keys, and that's why I wanted to offer my detox plan, because I really absolutely believe in detoxing the body and getting it really clean so that you can hear your soul guidance. It's very difficult if you're a person who stuffs a lot of crap into your system every day to hear yourself. But I will post the link to my DIY body detox so that you can actually watch the video, and I talk about detoxing emotions. This is what I used to speak on a lot at different events. That was my main thing, was about the clearing of emotions, and I guess it still is. It's just on a deeper level. I'm just going to see if anyone else has said anything. Jean-Marc says, my parents don't even know the word karma. I think a lot of our parents don't even know the word karma, so I wouldn't be upset with them for that. They just don't know. Hello, Andrew. How you doing? I saw one of your boxing videos, which looked kind of cool. Hello, Kelly and Richard and Jim. I don't know if you're all still here, but hello. Raquel says, I have triggers that knock me off balance. I quickly bounce back, but I hate getting knocked off. Well, yeah, that's true. No one likes getting knocked off, but the more we come into acceptance, so I guess that's one of the things I missed, is that it's the acceptance of emotions and the acceptance of the fact that we have these different voices within us that try and thwart our growth is the key to creating balance. Because when we know they're there and we listen and we don't try and squash them with food, with donuts or custard, don't know why I said that, donuts and custard, and chocolate and, you know, fizzy drinks or alcohol and cigarettes or sex or whatever. I'm not saying that sex is bad, by the way, but we can use that as a way of thwarting connection to ourselves. It's a way of, you know, kind of trying to thwart loneliness. Look, I've got totally taken off track because I said that. So what we're doing is we're actually just trying to accept these parts of us so that we can create more alignment, right? If you imagine a teacher looking after a bunch of rowdy children, the teacher is not going to ignore the children when they're upset. She's going to have to do something about it, right? So we're trying to create the teacher within, right? The soul within, the one who actually knows what the hell is going on and is way down the path much further than us, right? Jean-Marc says, I wrote that. My parents don't know karma because you said that these were parental voices telling suffering was deserved because of karma. Well, yeah, but it could be a mix of a parent with your spirituality. So this is the thing, our voices kind of get mixed up. So we can have this belief, like especially spiritual ego is probably one of the most insipid egos in there, because when we believe we're spiritual, ego now has a great stronghold to whisper things to us that are of a spiritual mindset. So one of mine was, and I'm sure this is the same for other people, a spiritual person is forgiving. So we take that statement and we take it to the nth degree. So we become super, super, super duper forgiving. And no matter what anyone does to us, we forgive them, right? What this actually does, right, from a spiritual perspective is it starts to create another place for ego to come in and take over, right? Ego now comes in and says to you, oh, you're angry at that person, you're not really spiritual. Or you still haven't forgiven that person for what they did to you, so you're not really evolved and conscious, right? And it berates us, when actually what's happened is you haven't honoured yourself. You know, I did a whole live stream on forgiveness a while ago. I might do one again. But forgiveness is one of those areas that when it comes into spirituality, we take it too far. Forgiveness should only be happening once you've checked in with yourself, right? Connection to the body, and made sure that you've honoured yourself. So you may not have spoken your truth. You may have just been quiet, right? You may have let someone speak to you in a terrible way or treat you in a terrible way, and you haven't said anything about it. Right? You may not have set any boundaries. You may still be allowing that person to do that. Right? I lived that, so I know, right? I didn't set any boundaries with the person that I loved because I cared about him and I could see what his issues were. So I was trying to help him, I thought, from my world, but actually that's just ego. That's ego coming in, because it's putting you in a place where you're kind of like, you're trying to be spiritual, you're trying to be the nice person, but you're not actually honoring you. Like, spirituality, when it boils down to it, should be the preservation of a soul self, not the preservation of ego or the preservation of anything outside of ourselves, right? Raquel says, oh my God, yes, forgive them when they shouldn't be forgiven, right? Please do another video about forgiveness. I will, because it's one of those topics that I see it regularly. When you have the good boy or the good girl within, a lot of people with religious backgrounds have this. We have a huge issue with forgiveness. And it either transpires that we are too forgiving, or we actually don't really forgive at all, and we berate ourselves for not being forgiving. And usually the trick is that we just haven't actually spoken our truth, and we haven't set healthy boundaries, because we don't actually parent ourselves properly, because we don't know how, right? If you had a good parent in your world, an elder, I always go about the elders that we don't have. If we had elders and mentors in our world, we would actually be able to parent ourselves, because we would have been taught to stand up for ourselves, to speak our truth, but do it with compassion and kindness. And if people in your world are not meeting you there, then they're not of your world. And that's where forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness of the self is also a huge topic. But anyway, I'm digressing, so I will come back to that later. So if any of you would like to join my Pain to Power program, I'm only going to be working with 10 people. That's what I've decided at the moment. I guess it might change if there's more people that want to do it. But at the moment, I kind of feel like 10 is a really good number. If you want to do that, please message me and I will send you more details. I will put up the link in a few days, and I will be live streaming about it again. For those of you who are unsure, I will do a live stream specifically on it, talking about exactly what we're going through. Jean-Marc says, if we don't know how, then that's not ego, that's just not knowing how. Yes, exactly. Yes, I agree. If you don't know how to do it, then it's not ego, it's just that you don't know. It's just like being the child at school. And you have to listen to your teacher, right? The child isn't going to tell the teacher, shut up and go away, right? But the ego is something that's kind of, I talk about it as a neurotic teenager. So this is where our egos should have had help from mentors, from elders, but generally they don't. Generally we become a teenager and we don't really have parents who know how to navigate the world of teenagehood into adulthood. So our egos usually are kind of underdeveloped. And then as adults, we don't really have like a fully embodied parental version of us within, like a fully adult version of us, if you want to look at it that way, a really logical way. So we're still kind of playing out childhood wounds and a neurotic teenager a lot of the time. So that's kind of what I work with, and I help you to connect to the soul voice, connect to a deeper wisdom within the body, so that you can really find out who you are and where you actually want to go. So that's what I do. And with the Pain to Power, this is really the laying the foundation for that, because most people's pain stops them. Most people's limiting beliefs and the thoughts that they have in their head stop them from growing. So we need to start there to clear the grounds, to cultivate a connection so that we can really connect to our body wisdom and the soul voice within. So that's the work that I do. And I'm really looking forward to doing this with more of you, because at the moment, my time working one-on-one with people has meant that, a lot of my time has been taken up working one-on-one, and I feel really called to do group coaching. So for one reason, more of you can afford it. And two, so that I can actually help more people more time effectively. That doesn't really make sense, but it made sense in my head. But more effectively, yeah. So if you want any more information, or if you just want to reach out with an issue, we can do one-on soul sessions, just one-on-one soul sessions. I generally, as I say, don't like to do just one, but I have done some for some people recently who are having some issues, so we can do that. I've got one slot left at £50. I sound like I'm doing bingo. I have one slot left at £50. I normally do it 75. And then I've got my soul session series, which is at the moment 350 for 5 sessions, where we take you right through one-on-one, just with me and you, for an hour, usually an hour and a half actually, each session, and we go through it each week. So you're not left with any places where you can't see yourself. I make sure that we witness all of you. And also there's my Pain to Power program, which you can basically donate what you want. And if you pay the big ticket, which is 180, then you get all the extras. You get to bring a friend for free. You get my DIY body detox program, which is £147. And you also get, what's the other thing you get? You get a soul session with me for free, 1-to-1 on Skype. So let me know what you would like to do, and I hope to be speaking to some of you soon. All right, loves, take care. Bye.